I bought a Yamaha Fazer. So what happened was I had a little kind of plan in the back of my head that I would get some 600cc thing, a bit of a winter hack, but I wasn't kind of planning on buying one just yet, maybe wait a little bit and wait for the right deal to come along. I don't know. Anyway, I saw one on eBay, I put in a bid and I won it, and I didn't think I would. So I had to go up to Liverpool, pick it up, ride it back down to Bristol, and now it's sat in the Thunder cave, waiting for something to happen. But anyway, here's a little story about that. Right, so it is now 5:15 in the morning. You can still see it's pitch black outside and it's been raining all night. It's been Storm Lilian, which is hilarious because it was Lilian's 50th yesterday. And it's been storming Lilian all night, but apparently the weather's going to clear up. I've got to go all the way up to Runcorn, is it? Yeah, near Liverpool anyway. And then ride the bike back down. So I'm all packed and ready. Got my kit all in a rucksack. Be carrying my helmet, and I'm gonna go and get the train. So I'm sat on my first train. I got to get the train from Bristol to Newport, change in Newport, up to Crewe, I think, and then from Crewe on to Runcorn. And the weather is horrible. But the weather forecast all over the country is supposed to be clearing up from about 7 o'clock this morning. So, fingers crossed. I don't fancy riding for like 4 hours in the pouring rain. Hopefully it won't be. Thankfully, looks like the weather's breaking, as the weather forecast has promised.
We're coming in on platform 2. We are currently 6 minutes late.
So we're 5 minutes late, 6 minutes late to Newport, so I'm going to have to dash over to platform 4 to get my connecting train, or the whole thing just stops here. Right, I'm off. Made it to Newport, and I literally have about 3 minutes before my train goes. It's a train to Manchester, but obviously I'm stopping at Crewe. I always feel like you run. When you go to train stations, you just run, don't you? Anyway. Right then, so we've got as far as Hereford, but let's get in the shade here. So we got as far as Hereford, but because of the winds in the night, because of Storm Lilian, there is a tree across the train tracks in Leominster. So we got to wait here for an hour or so while they get Network Rail out to sort it out. So I'm going to pop in here, get a quick coffee. My train is right there. It's going in the right direction, but, well, it's not moving right now. So a little bit of a delay, but not too long, hopefully. Finally we're heading out. We're stuck in Hereford for about 2 hours now, waiting for them to clear a tree off the tracks. Nightmare. But I got a free flapjack and a free coffee. Not bad. Right, so I finally made it to Crewe. Changing trains here to Runcorn, where the guy's going to pick me up with his car, and we're going to go and pick up the bike, hopefully, unless it's an absolute banger, and then I'll be taking the train home again. But anyway, made it so far. Spent hours on the train here because of that tree that fell across the lines, but we're nearly there. We are nearly there, which I'm very, very happy about. There we are, Crewe in the background. Nice that I'm going to hang my stuff on this guy's bicycle. Don't know who it is, but I'm thanking him. Right, so I've just picked up this little Fazer. Got the back box on it and everything. It's ridiculous. Anyway, gonna ride it back down to Bristol. It's fairly tidy, I would say. Fairly tidy. Needs a bit of a clean up, but given the fact that I'm literally gonna probably tear it apart, start again, I'm not that fussed. But as long as it gets me home, it's the main thing. So I went and picked up the Fazer from up near Liverpool, and I've now ridden it down to Welsh Pool on the way home. So I'm not taking the motorways today, riding back down through a bit more of a scenic route. But yeah, it's nice. I've had a couple of these Fazers before. So the first one I had was a really ropey one that needed loads of work, and the second one I had was absolutely pristine. Years ago I had them, kind of probably 12, 13 years ago that I owned Fazers before, and I thought they were brilliant bikes. This one is, I would say, it's somewhere between the first one and the second one I owned. I'm not that fussed because I just want it to be something I can kind of have a bit of a winter project with, so I'm going to chop it a little bit and yeah, turn it into a bit of a something different. I don't know what you'll call it. Not exactly cafe racer, not exactly scrambler, something in between. So, and I think this is the perfect bike for it. I can already tell there's a few things that need sorting. So we got the front wheel bearers again. And they're a little bit noisy, they're not too bad. I think the valve clearance is a little bit out, but there's plenty of power in the engine, plenty of pull. Pulls like a train actually, so it's a decent bike. But the reason I got it, I've been thinking about doing this chop on this bike for a while, on this type of bike, but one of the reasons I got it was because I only paid £671.50 for this bike on eBay. It was almost like an accidental purchase because I've been looking for a while and eyeing some up and thinking I might buy one towards like the winter. I wasn't planning on getting anything quite this early. I put in a bid of £700 on this bike and I won it, which was a total shock. I didn't think I'd win it at all. I thought it would kind of go up to normally 1200, something like that these ones would go for, and I won it, but the one person that had bid before me had bid £670, so I got it for £671.50, which is one bid higher than the last one. So that's a pretty cheap bike. Came with a top box, which is something I've never had before, like a luggage thing, and it's just funny to have one of those. I've never had one before, but oh my goodness, just putting your helmet in the back there or your bag or whatever is just so easy. But no, I'm not going to start doing top boxes, but for the way home it's been helpful. It's a totally different ride than the Thunderbird. The Thunderbird is much heavier. Well, it says on paper it's only about 30 kilos heavier, something like that. But it's way more than that. I can tell the difference immediately. And it's quite nice to kind of grab something that is really, really light and nimble. But it doesn't obviously have that kind of solid feel and presence to it that you do get with the over-engineered Thunderbird. But that's okay. That's one of the reasons I wanted one of these. So we'll see how this modification goes with this bike. I'm going to keep you updated on it. But I'm going to head back down through the kind of the heart of Wales, really. So I'm in Welshpool at the moment, and I'm going to head down and down to Abergavenny, down to Newport, and then across to Bristol. So a few hours of riding left, but it's a nice day for it. It pretty much starts on the button. It's a very, very different experience than riding the Thunderbird. Partially because the clutch bites absolutely immediately, which is fine, but when I picked it up I stalled it like 5 times, which wasn't too smart. I'm definitely going to give this bike a bit of a chop. It's going to be my winter project. Or do I restore it to be like original Fazer, completely perfect in every way? Because I must say, this fairing, even though it's not very big, oh my life, it makes such a huge difference to how much you get kind of hit by the wind. It's a fun bike. It's a fun bike. 6 gears. If you know about the Fazer, you probably do, but basically it was seen as a bit of a parts bin kind of motorcycle. It was kind of put together using the engine from the Thundercat. It was just detuned to make it less powerful, a little bit more kind of I don't know, little bit more forgiving, I suppose. Great handling, kind of softish suspension, but it's nice, and just plenty of power available. Absolutely plenty of power available to just, you know, get right up to speed. It's nice. It's nice. This one between 60 and 70, it's a little bit. It's a little bit. Not quite perfect, but I think, you know, I bought this bike for £671.50. I mean, where can you get a motorcycle for £671.50? That's ridiculous, isn't it? That's absolutely ridiculous. Just bagged myself an absolute bargain of a bike, and yeah, it's oh, I actually need to be down there. What am I doing? It's great, absolutely great, good fun. A cheap ride, and it just flew through its MOT just last week, but it's a little bit, it could do with all the bits and bobs doing, if you know what I mean. Like, I think the top end bearing needs doing, the front wheel bearing could do with changing. It's just a little bit, it feels a little bit on the loose side, if you know what I mean. Just everything feels a little bit like, ooh, that's not quite as solid as it should be. It feels completely safe, but I'm used to coming from the Thunderbird. It is the most over-engineered bit of kit on the road, you know. It's heavier than it needs to be, it's more over-engineered than it needs to be, you know, everything about it is just a little bit over the top, whereas this is kind of small, light, nimble, a heck of a lot of plastic on it, loads of plastic everywhere, which I'm probably just going to get rid of all the plastic, apart from like essential bits that enable the vehicle to work. But I think I'm just going to strip it right down and start again. I have never really done any engine work on bikes or cars or anything, but I've always really wanted to. So I think this is my opportunity to have a bike where I can learn some engine work. So strip the engine down, you know, change all the bits that have got a little bit worn out, learn how to do it basically,
But who knows? Let's see. I'm going to get it back. I'm going to chuck it in the Thunder Cave, and that's where it's going to live for a bit. I haven't got time to do anything with it now. It will be a bit of a winter project, and I'll decide exactly how I'm going to move forward with it, whether I'm going to do a full restoration to kind of original standard with it, or if I'm going to kind of chop it properly. I think I'm going to chop it.
I really don't want to admit this, but this little Fazer 600 handles better than my Thunderbird. I've done 140 miles on it so far. I'm down fairly close to Abergavenny, and it's just been absolutely effortless. And this is not the most tidy and well-tuned bike or Fazer I've had. I had two Fazers before. It's good, but it's, you know, needs a little bit of TLC and a little bit of kind of engine care and tuning of the carbs and things like that. But it really is just munching up the miles, and the handling, I've forgotten how good these things handle. Just absolutely effortless handling, no kind of doubts as to whether when you kind of bank it down the bends if it's gonna snake a little bit or anything like that. Just absolutely handles like a dream. So this has been a bit of an eye-opener. These little 600s from, well, this one's from 99 I think, man, really got loads of life left in it. So I'm going to give this thing some love. I'm going to show that behind me. It's, what's my gimbal doing there? There we go. There she is. Absolute joy. Absolute joy. Just been absolutely flying into these bends, going through the little winding roads in Wales and loving it. I mean, the top box is great as well because I can put stuff in it, but it does look stupid, doesn't it?